Okay, so we had a few hiccups with our match 2 of this draft, so unfortunately I can't show you the live recording of it, but this is our opening hand and we are on the play. We've got the game log. We seem to be struggling to get the game log going, so don't worry about that, but yeah, so we're on the play here. This hand is pretty nice, it curves out pretty nicely. Particularly we draw some more lands. Draw into plains. Attack for 1 here. I just accidentally skipped the turn, not thinking, because I don't play the Dreadscape Slither there, which is a fairly big mistake. Opponent plays a Saddled Rhyme Stag, which is a fairly big threat whenever our opponent plays a creature. The Lancer Slither, which we're going to play out, maximise our mana and attack for 1. There's a Twin Silk Spider, which is going to allow them to attack for 4 here, and we're just going to take that. Basically the step to get sure we keep hitting our land drops. Play the Dreadscape Slither. Plays a Neurophage, which is a significant threat. It's a flyer which is going to slowly grow as our opponent draws more cards. So here we are going to hit 5 mana, so we can cast first Slither's Chosen. Giving all of our creatures, or all the creatures we have on our battlefield currently exalted, which means we can attack for 5 here with that Changeling Outcast, which can't be blocked. So one is going to go down to 12. They don't really have a good attack on the ground. Neurophage grows for the turn, becoming a 2/3. Excavating Anerid is going to allow him to sack a land. Them to sack a land, draw a card, and then grow the Neurophage further. Swing into 3, put us down to 13. So here we've got some options. We can either hold up Wing Shards or play the Irregular Cohort. I like playing the Irregular Cohort here because we know we're going to clog up the ground nicely. We're going to get 2 more points of exalted damage through with this Changeling Outcast. So the game is going to go. There we go. Okay, so yep, we get to attack in 2 more points of exalted. Meaning we can attack for 7, so our opponent's dead next turn unless they've got an answer for first Slither's Chosen or the Changeling Outcast. And they're not in great position just in general. He plays Elvish Fury, doesn't choose to buy it back, just to hit us for 6 here, which puts us down to 7. So presumably they've got something for this turn. We can play Enduring Slither and hold up Wing Shards here, so it puts us in fairly good shape. So everyone has Choking Tethers here, so they're going to be able to tap down 4 of our guys. So only leaving us with a couple of guys back. The Neurophage is going to grow to a 5/6. One plays Icefang Coatl, drawing an extra card, growing the Neurophage again up to a 6/7. Attack with everyone. So we get to Wing Shards here. So we're just going to have to sack off 2 of their creatures. And so even if they take away the 2 spiders, then they've just got a couple of 4/4s that we can block. And fortunately the Neurophage is 1 damage away from being lethal. So we get a turn back and then we can kill our opponent on the follow-up. So yeah, fairly close game. For sure, and the Neurophage was certainly a big threat against us, but we managed to just eke this one out in game 1. So let's go to game 2. Okay, so here we are with game 2 of our draft matchup. This is our opening hand. It's not insane, but it does have a 2-drop, 3-drop curve, and yeah, too many lands, but I think we can keep this and hope to draw in for them all. We draw another island, which isn't great. Dreadscape Slither Comes down on turn 2. Opponent's not really got much going on just yet. Spring Bloom Druid. Also opponent to Harrow, and also allows them to fetch up snowlands relevantly. So they seem to have drafted those quite highly. Presumably they've got a few cards in their deck that care about snowlands, or snow permanents. I'm going to get to attack for 2, and then play Venomous Changeling. And just Bellowing Elk, which is kind of problematic. Every time they play a creature, it gets trampled and indestructible, which makes it fairly tricky to deal with if they can consistently drop creatures onto the battlefield. We are going to be able to play an irregular cohort here, and Vesperlark gives us a flyer. I don't know if we should have sideboarded this out, because we know that they have the Twin Silk Spider, which comes down here. Obviously Vesperlark not very strong against that card. So Bellowing Elk gets to attack for 4. It's not really a good way to block that. We're going to play out the rest of our hand here. Our guys get Outlast. Who gets to attack? We're going to trade off the the Frostwaller, sorry, with this Venomous Changeling, and we're going to have to take 4 from this Bellowing Elk, unfortunately. It's just not really a good way to block it. The good thing about Vesperlark here actually is that we can get Venomous Changeling back. So we get another Death Touch guy. Unfortunately we draw a land, which isn't ideal. I decided to outlast this token. I probably should have outlasted one of the creatures we actually care about instead, because trading off a Changeling is better than trading off a card that actually has some text on it. It's going Anarid. That's another fatty to the board. Draws our opponent an extra card, and meaningfully turns all these cards onto the Rhyme Stag, and the Bellowing Elk are all as big and as scary as they can be. I'm going to block with the irregular cohort. We can dredge it back. Is that the right word? No, unearth the irregular cohort back with the Dregscape Slither, which will leave a token behind. So that's a fairly decent trade. So I'm going to double block here, trade with the Rootwaller, given that our opponent's only got 1 mana open and it's going to be a bigger threat later. And then let our Vesperlark die. Still take 4 here. Get back our Venomous Changeling. And as I say, we can unearth both of our slithers in the yard, potentially. Smiting Helix is nice. So I think what we should have done probably was unearth and attack with the irregular cohort first. And that potentially gives us a way to deal with the Excavating Anarid, but I think long-term Bellowing Elk is probably the bigger threat. Being indestructible and having trample means that it's pretty much always forcing damage through any time our opponent plays a creature, so I still think that was the right play, ultimately. So, unearth the irregular cohort, get a token. I'm going to attack, but it's not going to mean anything. But if the situation hadn't been different and we weren't wanting to kill the Bellowing Elk, we should have done that first, attacked first, and then when our opponent blocks with the 4/4, we could have then Smiting Helix afterwards to deal with the Anarid. Tempered Slither is fine, but we are going to take a big attack here. Take 4, we'll kill the Anarid, because when the opponent gets Threshold, this becomes an even bigger threat. 5/5 Vigilance. And opponent plays another Rhyme Stag. Interesting that they didn't keep that back to pump their existing Rhyme Stag again. So we can unearth some guys, but it's not great. We don't really have any red mana other than our Mox Tantalite, so we're not in a great position in relation to that. So just to pass the turn, I don't think we can really afford to outlast at this point in time. Our opponent doesn't draw a creature, so they don't have a great attack at this point. Decide to outlast our 3/3. Really just want to get something that's bigger than a 4/4 on the board so we can favourably block these rhyme stags, if possible. We are taking a bit of a risk here with the Outlast, but I think it's one that we can willingly take. Wing Charge is nice. That I mean, it's not ideal in that if their opponent just attacks, we can only hit one creature, but it could be significant. It gives us the opportunity to outlast our creatures, knowing that we're not going to get too punished for not holding a creature back. So basically at this point we're drawing more action than our opponent, and the Outlast ability is allowing us to grow our guys significantly better than our opponent is. So our threats are getting bigger and our opponents are struggling a little. Jumping Herds are nice from them. They get to get a 3/3 creature, and it also rebounds, so it triggers Rhyme Stag again. So that's a nice little synergy there. Opponent's going to attack with 3 guys. I should have cast Wing Shards first, I think, because it's going to force our opponent to sack 2 creatures, and then we could have blocked afterwards. So yeah, I didn't really think about casting Wing Shards in this situation, but it's quite good because obviously they only sack attacking creatures, so they're going to lose 2 of their best creatures essentially. So they sack the ones I blocked anyway, and then end up hitting us for 4. We go down to 3, but yeah, we should definitely play that before blocks rather than after blocks. Not that it's going to matter, I don't think. We're in a really good position now. I'm going to attack for 6 here. We've got a Changeling Outcast that can get through as well, but our opponent's chumping, which seems really good for us. And I suppose our real risk is that our opponent gets a flyer, which could happen, but as it stands, they're not really fighting through our board. Windblade Shinobi is fine. Regular Cohort means even more creatures onto the battlefield. So we're certainly winning from that perspective. We pump the Changeling Outcast. I decided not to attack here, but I think I probably should attack with the 6/6 in hindsight. Because we really just need to push for the win as soon as possible. Realistically. Like Venomous Changeling. Playing against white, I think we should probably be playing our creatures after combat, but I don't think it's going to matter here. So we go to attack, opponent blocks, and our opponent concedes here. I suppose that's a little bit premature, given that they do potentially have flyers that could change this game, but I think we're pretty close to wrapping this one up. And yeah, our opponent concedes, so we managed to pick up the win, our first win of the draft.